for Martin Luther King Day. So we decided to get another show in real quick. I'm joined tonight, one only Stretch, BLR Design.
What up, what up? How you doing? How you
Say
doing?
hello to the world of
Hello, world.
the Twitterverse.
The Twitterverse. What's going
That shit,
on?
that's a weird word. I don't know why people,
Twitter.
that's like one of those things bloggers made up when they had to write about Twitter at some point.
The new word combos are very interesting. We need a new dictionary.
Oh, they keep adding it, though. Merriam-Webster keeps up with that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell we're going.
Down.
So anyway, yeah, Mild Sauce Live, we take a few minutes out of your day once a week, twice a week, a few times whenever people stop by the house to talk about different creators in the city. My man has been downstairs doing his thing right nearby. My house isn't totally staying with us today for the studio vibes, but it'll be fine. But yeah, no, you've been downstairs. You've had the shop for man, what has it been? Over a year and a half?
A year and a couple months, almost 2 years.
I was gonna say, yeah, it seems like that time's really flown by since you opened the place.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been crafting away for some years now.
Literally, you guys can catch him in the window off Halstead.
1745
at the workshop.
South Halstead, right at the corner, 18th on Halstead. Can't miss me. I got a big window in front. I often work in front of the window. But yeah, it's a retail space, half retail, half work. Also live in the space, in the back.
People are trying to find you at any time.
You know, I'm always there. I like to tell people, you know, you can just give me a call. Usually I'm there, but officially we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
that's what's up.
But yeah.
And tell me a little bit about like how you got started, because the fashion game, especially what you're making. For those that don't know, you're making a lot of pants.
Yeah.
Making a lot of hand sewn things, right?
So
not hand sewn. I might correct me if I use wrong verbiage.
Nah. I mean,
I'm trying to put you in the wrong space, but
yeah,
it's a lot of hands-on work.
It's a lot of hands-on work. My whole thing has been, or what I guess might have made me kind of popular around the way, is the fact that I'm, you know, creating denim from scratch.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Right. And it's like one sword. You know, it's not a team of people. Sometimes my mother helps me, but it's primarily me cutting and sewing, cutting the patterns, cutting the fabric, and sewing the product. I've just recently introduced some things that are more graphic design projects. So they're like, you know, printed material and stuff like that on wholesale garments. But the main kind of thing that I sell is like one-off kind of custom jeans.
Right. So how do you build like a market for that? I mean,
over the years, I've been real lucky. Like I worked at boutiques and amongst really creative people that have always been immersed in kind of the culture.
And what are some examples of
that?
Give me some examples.
I worked at Leaders, so I'm a part of that family.
I was gonna say, I remember when you came on with Grade A Living, you were talking about this.
Yeah.
And so when were you working with Corey and all them up there?
So that was when I was in college. It was like right before I graduated college, when I was going to Columbia. So what was that? That was 2000.
Wasn't that long?
Nah, it's like from 2006 to like almost 2010.
2010 or something. Okay, yeah.
Like that. That's when I kind of like bumped
30 years
into
ago
them.
or something.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that long ago. A lot has happened though.
I feel you. You know what? I can't believe these last 5 years just went this fast.
Nah,
people have been bringing up 5 years ago, which apparently was 2014.
I mean, so much happens. You know, the last hour was a lot. You know what I mean?
That's very real, especially in these times that we're living in right now.
Constantly something going on. That's like
shit, yeah. The last week has been a lot from all the stuff that's been happening around the city. But I know I feel you. But so you're working with them. I mean, Corey at Leaders and all the guys at Leaders, Diego and everybody that's come and gone since. always been kind of a catalyst for like young entrepreneurs in the city. What were stuff you kind of took from that and from other places that you might have been bouncing around in between?
Nah, I mean, I kind of learned my way in kind of like the whole streetwear environment from being around those guys. I was always into like, excuse me, art and design, and like I said, I was going to school for design, so
Sure.
that was a part of me before I even met them.
Mhm.
But in terms of just understanding, just like the retail side of like how to sell
Or how to like
fashion.
turn those ideas into
Yeah,
something you
you
could
know,
sell, kind of.
yeah,
Did you
stuff
see
like
that? My bad. Did you see that shit that there's this new show that Killer Mike just put out called Trigger Warning? I
I
think it's
saw
called.
the preview for it, but I didn't.
So like in a wholly different way, like this doesn't totally like line up. But he did like he like
I was like, wait, no, you bring this together.
no, he was talking. It's kind of in the same way, like just people along the way, like opening your eyes to like new ways of doing something, like new like avenues of it. And he was talking about Hell's Angels, how Hell's Angels like copyright their logo and like they could sue like movies and TV and stuff like that use their logo.
Okay.
But that'd never been the case for like black gangs, Crips and the Bloods, who he used specifically. So then he went out and hung out with Crips and Bloods that he knew from Atlanta, and then he made Cripo Cola, I think he called it. Cripo Cola and Blood Pop. And it's real soda that he got them the copyright for.
Oh wow!
And now they're actually selling that around. And it was a really cool episode. It was like one of the only episodes of TV I've ever watched. And at the end, I was like, that was fucking brilliant. Like,
Man,
I
the meeting
literally
of
looked at the
minds.
screen and was like, holy shit, that was a really cool. That was a really cool experiment he just did. And actually did it in real life,
Is it selling? I mean, it's selling well.
I don't know what the sales numbers are, but it sounds like he's doing pretty good.
I mean, it's positive though.
It's a super positive. It's a way for like both the Bloods and the Crips, I guess, to come together and make money. That's totally positive and legal, more importantly. And so I say all that to say it is important for people to like see the like different avenues or different things that might not be in front of them. I've seen Corey take people who like were hanging out at the store all the time, drawing,
just
and
creatives. They're like
showing
young
them how to-
guys. He would take young guys that obviously were creative and they just didn't have an outlet, and gave them an outlet.
Right? Yeah,
and,
they just didn't know what it was yet.
Gave us a place to get those ideas out, make some money, and learn, how to build, how to build with the community, how to build with your friends, and put stuff out into the world. It's like that do-it-yourself culture was like kind of early back then, so there wasn't too many places where you could have that experience in Chicago.
Well, how do you feel about that? I mean, not even in Chicago, but the world right now, it's kind of like there used to be these places and these these spots and these people. I think, especially around the time like you said you were coming out of college, and I was making my entrance, trying to do what I was doing about the same time. So I remember like you had to be at this certain thing, you had to be at that certain place, for these like to meet the right person, to like not even like on like a networking thing, more so it was just like it was the thing to do if you wanted to exist in that world.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though with the internet being what it is now, I mean it was around of course then, but I think it's just exploded in the last few years into this new thing where I mean you have full careers being on
back
the
then you had to be like an early adopter to kind of navigate it well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at right
but
now.
It's kind of like you don't have to be an early. You could be Joe Schmo and figure out how to do your thing on the internet now. So it's definitely a new atmosphere. I would say stronger in the infrastructure to get to where you want to go, but cheapened in its value has been being cheapened.
You think the value of the art form or the value of like the hustle to make it?
Kind of like what happens with anything that is overly accessed and overly promoted and overly manipulated and overly exploited, and you know what I mean? It just gets to a point where it's like, I don't know what this is anymore, but we're gonna call it what we always been calling it.
Yeah, sure.
You
that
know?
Makes sense.
But
Do you feel like fashion is heading that way?
I feel like
Like
everything
fashion?
has
Everything
is having
is.
that effect. If it hasn't, it will, because of the internet.
Right. Like you have fast fashion, you have bloggers, you have something for everything, right?
But
Instagram photography.
I think we're coming into something like where we have fast fashion and fast food but we'll have fast bubbles too.
Like you kind of see that too. I mean, with the amount of people, like, you know, if Kanye doesn't say anything for a week or two, people almost kind of forget about him a little. Well, he might be a weird example, but
if anything isn't repeated a couple of times over a span of a week, you will forget about it in the moment after it happens nowadays, because like I said, everything's compounded the moment after it happens. If it's not retweeted or repromoted, it'll just be covered up with everything else that's being retweeted and promoted.
Right. There's always something to like kind of patch it over.
Right. But the unfortunate part is so something extremely significant, maybe something that had never happened ever on the planet, could be overlooked to some popular fight in some neighborhood, right?
Right. Yeah, like
right.
Ariana
Like we
Grande
could have
princess.
like solved some crazy thing,
Yeah,
right?
right,
And then
right.
you wouldn't have heard about it because this fight that happened.
That was on World Star or some shit. You got
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just covered it up completely. So I think, you know, nowadays, in order to navigate well, you just kind of gotta like gather your sources and keep tabs. You got to be really good at it.
Well, you were talking about not being on Twitter that much and trying to stay off. Like we were just doing a little catch up on the news from the last week, just to keep stretching the know. But no, for real. I mean, I'm envious of that though. Is it something you consciously do, especially creatively, right? I think people don't look at how much internet interrupts creativity.
It's something I had to do. I was dealing with like anxiety and depression from the onslaught of keeping up with that and being confused within it.
That's super real. Or
like
where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, because you know, I have a very unique type of life, I think, because my work is so close to the fun that I have.
Sure.
The things that I have to do within a workspace and the things that I have to do within like day-to-day life sometimes get intertwined and contorted, right?
Yeah.
And so when certain things happen within the industry that I work in, it has some strange effect in my actual personal life. And so navigating that sometimes is very difficult.
You just mean like the personality side of it? Or you mean like,
all of it, shit. Like,
yeah, I know it is. It's a small
like,
city at the end of the day.
This shit is, you know, yeah, it gets very weird. But you know, over time you get a handle on it.
What would be advice you would like give somebody younger that's like trying to do the same thing, navigating those roads?
Shit, tap out. Get the fuck out. Like unplug.
Yeah.
Walk around a park. Go on a trip. Forget your phone on purpose when you go to the grocery store. Or like not give a fuck about something that just happened. Just like tune it out. It doesn't matter.
Right. No, that's...
You know, I think it's like, it's not like I didn't know going into all of this that those types of things didn't matter. It's just, like I said, when you're immersed in, when you have to work within it, you can kind of forget the edges.
No, it's so real.
You
It's
know
like,
what I'm saying?
no, it's so real. I think the thing I brought up is like how it can interrupt your like your creativity.
Yeah.
Because like for me, like I noticed that when I read a lot of like short, shitty stories, I write like a short, shitty writer. Like, not on purpose, but I'll start using words that
fact.
aren't familiar to me, and I'll notice that. So like I've made a point to, but you don't realize how often like when I think back to when I was a kid, like we were kids, whatever, right? Like how many times did you read a story? You know what I mean? How many times? Like the thing is, we are reading. It's a weird part of the whole thing is they've done studies like we are reading more than we've ever read, but
It's shorter.
it's shorter, choppier, less decisive. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, like when I ate breakfast in the morning, I might read the newspaper a little bit and a couple stories. Then I go to school and it was just you lived life between then and you know what I mean? There wasn't anything else. There wasn't any distraction. It was just like now there's like off your phone you got 10 million thousand things to do.
Well, yeah.
Between that time of like waking up and getting to school, doing whatever you're doing, it's kind of crazy when you start breaking it down to like the realities of prior life.
Yeah. No, I mean, reading is, I think, important. I think we are reading more because of.
Yeah, no, I was actually saying we read, but it's like it's not quality anymore.
Right?
It's
No.
quantity, right?
I'm getting it. I'm gonna get to
Muffle.
that. So, like, okay. I think that it's not even the point of reading might not even be to. It's like, okay, well, I'm the guy that reads really long sentences,
Right?
and then you're the guy that reads short sentences. Who's to say that we're not both gaining the experience that we need from our process? So I guess I would say it's like, again, you have to. It's like freedom. But within that freedom, there's a responsibility. It's like with great power comes great responsibility. You have all this like power. I'm not saying that all these like new gadgets and like the way the world works isn't powerful. We live in a very powerful age. I think it's just like we have to be more responsible and accountable for what we're doing with these powerful tools.
I agree, because my thing, I totally agree with that. Because I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and it got down to the point of like, it's like being in a Porsche. Like a Porsche can do what, like 200 miles an hour or something like that?
Not all of them, but they're very fast.
The speedometer goes that high, right? Or some shit. Maybe that's what it was.
Right,
the speedometer goes that high.
Right.
So like, but it's like you never go 200 miles an hour in that car because you're not meant to go 200 miles in that car, whatever the amount is. And they said that to say like same thing with this. Like we can send the 5,000 emails and look at 10 things at once and all these screens in front of us and stuff. But like the point is like, should you? Like, are you supposed to? Like, just because you can go 100 miles an hour, should you go 100 miles an hour all the time?
Right.
Like, no, maybe 50 is like the cruising speed you should be at.
Or application, like things get out of whack when they're applied to things that they shouldn't.
No, sure.
So like you use the Porsche as an example. It was like, okay, that's like getting into like, okay, well, would you drive a Porsche to a grocery store or something?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, well, the car was not designed to do that, but it can.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So
like just because you can do it,
should you do it, right?
And it's like that kind of it goes both ways though. It's like the people writing the articles. You saw that shit with BuzzFeed that just happened with the president, where they called the president out on some stuff that wasn't true. And Mueller came out and discredited it, but it was like, these guys are writing the stories too fast, so that the stories aren't as good, and the people reading it are reading it too fast, and it's like this like feedback loop that kind of goes all the way around.
Well, it's the like everything is being bottlenecked into like its simplest form,
right,
for consumption. Because we got to collect data and analytics and shit.
we have to.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's what everybody's working for, so that's what we're
right.
seeing. We're seeing like this half-assed, like cheap-ass shit being promoted and pushed because we have timelines.
Right, that you can actually see it physically and stuff.
Things we have deadlines to meet.
Yeah. Tell me about deadlines. Like, you got self-imposed deadlines. How did you get from being on other people's deadlines to your own?
What do you mean?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a segue.
No, that was a great. Like I'm trying to.
No, I was trying to say like, how long did it take you, or how did you get to the point of not working for somebody else? Because right now this is what you do.
Right. So okay, after working with leaders for a while, I had decided to part ways and like start my own kind of design company is what I was calling it at the time. I was doing freelance graphic design, freelance product design, freelance photography, and then I had some clothing items, promotional items that I was selling. Along with that, as a like a whole thing, it was called BLR Design. So that's of course what I am today.
Right. Yeah.
It's just more people know me from the jeans now, but I still do like logo design. I still do photography. I do a lot of car photography. I'm super into cars and shit. So yeah, I do that. Product design. I do what's that? Graphic illustration, mixed media art.
But like, was there a point where you kind of like all that kind of coalesced to like create a career for you, or was it always kind of like?
Yeah, no, I mean,
because I know how that is. Like, you get to that point where it's like, first it's that point of, all right, I can get the rent paid, right? And it's like the rent's getting paid off this. And then you get to that point where it's like rent's getting paid plus a little more. Well, at least for me, like when I was freelancing and stuff, like I had it too, where it was like every couple months you kind of get a little further with it to the point where you could just be doing that full time. I got pushed into it too. I had to freelance for years, just about like that was all I did. So I kind of feel you, but what was your like making it story?
So here's the thing: when I was in college, I first went to school for car design. Like I wanted to be a car designer.
Yeah, I remember you talking a lot about that last time. Yeah.
So I did like the first 2 years it was intense in that direction, and then I switched to graphic design. When I finished in graphic design, that was right at the same time the market had crashed.
Right.
So there weren't no jobs.
That's exactly what I came out
of school. Yeah. So I had to round up all of my talents, everything that I learned in school, and turn that into some jobs.
So is that what you were doing right after school?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of like what. Right before I had graduated, I got the design job, working with leaders.
Got it.
And so while I was in those last a year and a half that I had at Columbia, I had spent, but I was working with them.
Mm-hmm. So you already had like a foot in the door in the industry.
Right.
You wanted to get it. I get it.
Right. And at that time, that's kind of like the world that I guess I was most enamored by. Like I was.
No, I mean it was fun though. Like, just being at leaders was like a whole thing.
Just shit, right?
Yeah.
So like, I was at the top of the world at that time. You know, you couldn't tell me anything.
Right.
So, but doing so, like I said, shortly after that, market crashed. Things got a little rough. Yeah. You know, I had to figure things out. I wasn't making as much money as it was, so it was like, yeah, I had to turn up taking jobs for photography, and I had to turn up taking more freelance jobs for graphic design, logos and stuff like that. And I had to, you know, move around. But upon doing so, I had always added something that I did on the freelance side to the company that I'm doing now. So I've always offered all of this stuff, but it all came about from just having to have more than one talent to get by.
No, I totally feel, yeah. I mean, I think that's not only unique to like our mini generation, if you're like between, I don't know, like 25 and 35 right now, probably.
Yeah, you got to be kind of multi.
It was kind of, it was necessitated, right? Yeah.
I think right before my generation is when, what am I trying to say? Oh, no, that might not be true. I take that back. But yeah, no, I mean, you gotta be careful these days.
I feel you. No, but it is like a very true thing, especially I think in Chicago. I mean, I always credited being here through that time because I was like building websites and managing people or doing random shit all the time. So I was always running around myself, and it was like, if I had been in Chicago, I don't know I could have done it because it was just like the confluence of like the amount of creative people that were really hustling out here at that time. People like, you know, leaders and Juggernaut and Corey and Manny, all the guys that have really been great. And on top of that, just like the ability to live. I mean, like the cost of living compared to like trying to hustle in New York or LA at that time, I think really lent itself to building something here. Yeah,
ridiculous. I couldn't even do what I'm doing right now in New York. I mean,
never. Yeah.
I can't really say that because I haven't.
Well, maybe not now.
Tested.
Maybe now. I mean, yeah,
but I'm just saying, numbers wise, It's an entirely
It's just a
different
different
ballpark.
lifestyle, yeah. Like here, you could have like a comfortable lifestyle and still be hustling. Like
Yeah,
they're like your
yeah.
foot to mouth with it. But yeah, no, I mean, congratulations on. Do you feel as though the things have changed at all for you since you opened the space? Like, has it given more people like eyes to what you're doing? Is it like
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I think I got that space to be more a part of like the Chicago community. 'Cause prior to this spot, I was living in the south suburbs, and so I was commuting a lot to the city, like damn near every day,
yeah,
to make things happen. And right when the jeans started to gain some popularity, like that was the immediate problem, being so far away from the city. So
because you constantly have to go back and forth.
right. And I'm already making a product, so I mean, a lot of people I don't think really put together that I was driving back and forth to Chicago 35 to 45 minutes at a time every day to deliver some of these jeans. Or it's just like, it's like I'm the guy that cut the jean, I sold the jean, I created the jean out of thin air, I appeased every request and cut, I finished the garment, record-breaking time, then I drove it to you. But then it's like, I might have been like, I don't know, 30 minutes late or something in traffic, and then like that might be a problem.
Oh God,
something like that.
Yeah, there's always something. Yeah.
But I think, over time, you just nobody gives a shit. You got to roll with all the punches. Nothing's easy, and over time, you just get better at it.
And that's what's up. Yeah, I mean that's all you can say about that. We're running a little long, but it's been fun as fuck.
Yeah, nice.
Tell me and all the people where we can find like all of your stuff outside of 1745. Is that what you are?
1745 South Hostage Street.
Brick and mortar.
Yes.
Do you have to have like a? I've only like been there because I walked through with Mars and stuff, but is it like a storefront too? Do people walk in and out?
Yes.
Or is it more of a workshop?
It's both.
People can come in?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Definitely.
See, my bad. I'd be breezing by with my laundry instead of.
No. People could definitely come in. Like I said, I'm usually there working in front of the window. So on the days that it's not officially open, like I said, officially on the window, it does say we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I am usually there every day, working.
Stop by, wave through the window.
If you see me in the window and you wave and I ignore you, I'm like super busy. But 9 times out of 10, I won't, and I'll be very happy to see you.
That's a good system. And then website for everything is
blrdesign.us.
.us.
And you can find everything that I do from that link.
Grab some jeans.
You can
get some
check out
photos.
some photos of nice cars. You can check out my blog that I sometimes update.
All sorts of stuff.
But yes, the clothing is updated pretty much every month. I have new product from hats to graphic t-shirts to photo tees to graphic hoodies to jeans, one-off pieces of
all one-man
clothing.
shop too.
Yeah, it's on me.
That's fucking impressive, man. Keep that up.
Just here to inspire, keep the good vibes going in Chicago, good creative vibes. I've always been around helping creatives here, and hopefully I'll be for years to come.
We hope so, man. No, thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully we'll get you back soon. We got to get a show going for you, being right next door and everything. We got to set something up. We'll figure it out.
I'm down.
It's 2019. We got to add some more shows to the lineup.
Things to say sometimes.
Well, dope, man. We'll be back again soon. Mild Sauce Live. This has been the latest episode. I totally fucked that up. Almost repeated myself.
Mild Sauce
Live. With the one and only Stretch, BLR Design. Did I say that wrong?
Nah, BLR Design.
BLR
BLR Design.
I be
Mild
saying
sauce.
the wrong names for everybody all the time, so you can't mess with me. But yeah, no, it's been fun. We'll be back again soon. Check back for all our previous episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other places like that, and also on mildsauce.co. And yeah, thank you.